Superintendent. I just want to advise the public that for the next 2 hours and 33 minutes, we will be playing the recordings that you've called in to us. So we will be here listening to you. So you can play, if you're planning on watching the workshop, it'll probably start somewhere around 6 o'clock, which is approximately 2 hours and 30 minutes from now. So Mr. Ramasar, if you want to start the recordings, please.
Yes, my name is Mitchell Cohen of Palm Beach County. I'm a former hospital administrator from a large hospital in Palm Beach County, and do not believe that there should even be a question concerning whether the students should return to school physically. At this point, there's no cure. We're out of the drug for the treatment for COVID-19. At this point, everything should be done online. The FLDS is basically working. It's a good program until we can get this under control. And that's what I believe is needed for the safety of the children, for the safety of their siblings, the parents, grandparents, teachers, and anyone else that they come in contact with. We all know that in the school, we have in the past had problems with outbreaks of virus, of flu, colds, even head lice, and certain things cannot be prevented. Students are going to be using the bathrooms, touching other things, and there's no way to prevent the spread of virus. And again, I'd like this to be a comment on the return to school on COVID-19, which I am against at this time. I think that the students should be doing the remote education. The district has been doing a wonderful job on that. It's provided computers for those that don't have a laptop or other means. They've been doing a lot of things for that, and I think that's the way we should continue. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Pam from the Door, and I'm a high school teacher in Palm Beach County. I am in favor of starting school virtually. These comments are to that agenda topic. I am in favor of starting virtually until our numbers are more under control and there is some kind of treatment or vaccine available. I know the culture of our schools, and I think for 1 minute students are going to take social distancing seriously. It may happen for a few days or a couple of weeks, but I know how they think and act in general at school, and I don't think they will care about safety once they're back together. I've already been planning how I can barricade sections of my room with furniture so students can't come near me. I know parents want to get back to work, but what happens when one person is in a classroom? Now that whole class and teacher must quarantine for 2 weeks. This is going to be happening over and over. It'll be so frustrating. We will probably never have an entire class there at one time, and parents will still be missing a lot of work to stay home with a quarantined or sick child every few weeks. And the subs that are willing to take the jobs will not be qualified teachers. So the effective teaching and learning environment will not be happening. I think it will be like taking 3 steps forward and 2 steps back on a daily basis. I'm asking you to consider virtual learning at least in the beginning of school. We were thrown into it last year, but with time to plan and district directives, I feel that we can start the year in a much better position. Thank you.
Hi. I wanted to make a comment about schools reopening. I think that we should adhere to the start date that we have on the calendar. However, I feel that we should open virtually the same way we closed. And I think that the students are better prepared than they were initially. I know the teachers are better prepared than we were. I think we've all learned a lot, and I think that we're ready for the challenge, especially with the sudden huge increase in cases in our area. My name is Debbie Jackman, and I appreciate your consideration.
Hello, this is a comment for the school district in Palm Beach. My name is Dr. Jackman, and I'm listening to all the information that I'm getting about the spiking of the number of individuals who have COVID-19. I think it's silly to go back to school in a student-to-student way in our next semester. My wife is a faculty in the public schools of Palm Beach. She's a speech pathologist, and I would just as soon as she not go in and put herself and eventually myself in danger from this virus. Thank you. My name again is Dr. Herbert Jackman. Bye.
Hi, my name is Paulette Shane. You can't vote on a pandemic. This is science, not personal needs or feelings. The number of cases in Palm Beach County is dangerous. If you reopen schools, students, staff, and teachers will become ill. You'll cause tragedy, and then you'll close again. Please understand the science, not the personal voting needs of people. This is truly science and lives at stake. Please use scientific thinking. Thanks. Bye.
Good morning. My name is Kimberly Stevens, and I am a parent of 2 children in the Palm Beach County School District, middle school as well as high school. I'm asking that we continue with virtual schooling at the start of the school year for the safety of not only our children, our teachers and staff, but the parents and friends and family members that they leave at home. It is very important that we continue with virtual schooling because safety is very important. Safety first. And I am a parent that my children did very well during the virtual schooling, and I believe that they will continue to do so. I believe in the Palm Beach County School District, and I believe that you all will make the right decision. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sharon Romero, and I am calling on behalf of our family who has an upcoming 5th grader and 6th grader in the Loxahatchee area. We are calling concerning the start of this school year. I myself am a cancer fighter currently, and I'm a type 1 diabetic and asthmatic. As such, our family does not feel comfortable having our children go back into a classroom setting for fear that they could contact something and bring it home to me, and I might not fare very well under my circumstances. So we are hoping that you will offer an option for virtual schooling, and I don't know how long that would need to last. That really depends on CDC guidelines and when we really see, COVID 100% and safely leaving our area, and having none of us exposed to that possibility. If we aren't able to do that through the public school system because of our circumstances, we feel that we may have to find a homeschool or other alternative. So we hope that even though it is a lot to consider, that you would have the option for people in our position to be able to virtually do public school. until, at least as we said, there is safety to be out there and not be at risk to this disease. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate everything that you're doing.
This is Angela Contessa, a parent with a child and family members in the Palm Beach County School District, and I appreciate the opportunity to leave my comments relative to the July 8th special meeting on school reopening. First, I would kindly request that you please consider delaying school to start until after the Labor Day holiday. This will allow additional time to determine the impact and the handling of COVID-19 on our local community. The September start would be with the hopeful goal of having all students return for in-person instruction should the positivity rate be down and stabilized. Second, if a delayed start is not an option, I would highly suggest and plead that if you decide to begin in-person attendance, the parents and guardians be given an option to have their child participate fully in virtual learning with their school for the first 9 weeks, with returning to in-person instruction in January 2021. Perhaps with the mindset and goal that this date could be reassessed every 4 weeks and moved up if the positivity rate and new COVID-19 cases are drastically down and stable in our area. On July 3rd, the Palm Beach County leaders advised that as of that date, the positive percentage rate for those under 18 who are tested is 25%. No one can say with any certainty that children are not at risk when they go back to school of contracting or spreading the COVID-19 virus. We must also be concerned about the health and safety of our teachers and support staff. As the Department of Health representative for Palm Beach County has said repeatedly, this is not the virus you want to take that chance with. We all know full well, and most have experienced, that illnesses such as the flu spread like wildfire through schools, affecting the students, teachers, and support staff. We cannot take that chance with COVID-19. We all can agree that the importance and benefits of having our children attend in-person instruction. However, at this time, and due to the trending upwards of virus cases and positivity rate in our community, sending our children and teachers back to classrooms in mid-August would be a dangerous gamble. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Hallquist, and I'm calling about the special meeting for opening school. I was just wondering if anyone has thought about possibly keeping all of the kids in the same class that they were, say the kindergarten class, they stay as the same kindergarten class, they just move all together to first grade, same as the first graders, just move the entire class up to an this way, if we have to do distance learning or whatever it is that we have to do, the students, the parents mostly know each other since we already did some online learning together, and this way it takes a little bit of the first day jitters, and maybe we could all just function better since we've already been through this at the end of the year together.
Hi, my name is Scott Dwyer. I'm currently a teacher in Palm Beach County, and I'm here to speak a little bit about the agenda topic that you guys will be discussing on Wednesday that deals with reopening schools. And it sounds like the school board tends to favor not reopening schools, and I'm strongly in favor of that as a high school educator. We lock this virus down, and I do not believe that it is safe for the children or for teachers and staff to return at this point. So that's my 2 cents on it. I really hope the school board makes the right decision. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Hillary Brockfeld. My phone number is 561-716-4236. And I am a friend of a teacher at Lakeland High School, and I'm really concerned about the spread of COVID in Palm Beach County right now. I am a student myself, so getting back in school, believe me, it's important. But I just feel like it's unsafe at this even FAU isn't opening parts of their schools until the end of fall. I don't think that the schools should open up until the positivity rate is under 10%. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Julianne Polito. I'm a teacher at Coniston Middle School. I was also a teacher at Bethune and a teacher at Orchard View, and for a while, a teacher at in Loxahatchee. I'm calling because I'm very concerned about the opening on August 3rd, and I really want to encourage the board to make decisions based on the trends of the number of cases each day. If it's trending up, if it's in the thousands, if it's continuing to do that, we're putting everybody at risk. So please include in my message that I would like us to delay the opening of school, consider going virtual for the first several weeks until the trends actually significantly reduce, or until such a time when there are any safety measures beyond wearing masks and social distancing that we can actually put into practice that we know will support us in our work and our students and families. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Tomas. I am going to start my 29th year teaching in Palm Beach County this August. I'm also a mom of a child who goes to high school here. I'm going to implore you to start our school year virtually for the safety of all of us as a teacher and a mom. Thank you so much for your consideration.
This is Brad Toussaint, educator at G-Star School. I'm calling just to say I don't even understand why this is even up for debate. Schools should not reopen until the numbers have gone down tremendously to the point where we don't have to rely on social distancing. That is not even possible to do in a school setting. Again, I don't see how you are even considering this. Human lives are more precious to this, as well as teachers' lives. We're going to have to be on the forefront there, and this is not the right way to go about it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kim Feldman. I am both a parent and teacher in the district. I am reaching out to the board today to emphasize the need to start the school year virtually. With the numbers increasing daily, it is unsafe to send children of all ages to school. You are putting children, teachers, staff, and all family members at risk for this virus that for some can be very serious, even deadly. We cannot take chances with people's lives. Children will not be able to adhere to the CDC guidelines the entire day, and teachers should not live in fear that they can catch the virus at any given moment. As we know, there is no best solution, but safety must be priority. I am confident that the school district of Palm Beach County teachers can effectively deliver the standards to students virtually. With the district trainings being offered, preparation and dedication, we can do this. Thank you so much.
Yes, I just wanted to say that I think it's not in the best interest of the students and the staff for us to go back to the brick and mortar learning on August the 10th based on the current numbers of coronavirus that keep escalating. And if it is mandated and we must go back, then I think that it should be also put in place that not only staff but students as well should be wearing masks when they are in the school building. Thank you very much, Lori Napperstack.
Good morning. My name is Becky Gollinger, and I am a teacher of 23 years in our school district, and I'm calling regarding the topic of returning to school in August. I wanted to let my thoughts be known that I feel returning physically would be a danger to our students' health, our staff's health, and everybody involved. I believe the best option would be to begin school on time on August 10th, but begin virtually so that everyone involved would be safe being in their own homes. We would have the tools and training to provide our students with the best learning and educational experience possible. And we would be safe, which is the most important issue. I hope that this will be taken into consideration, and I hope that the board and all involved makes the best decision possible for our students and our staff's health. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hello, this is Susan Selbaum calling regarding the return to brick and mortar for at least 5 days a week. I am imploring those making these decisions to please consider the lives of the teachers, especially those who are over a certain age, those who are experiencing comorbidities, those with family members that they have to tend to that are at high risk, and just those in general who do not want to get sick. We understand the needs of the children, and certainly we need to do everything we can for them, but putting our lives at risk is not one of them. Please reconsider the reopening of the schools in a live capacity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Mullen, and I teach at Starlight Cove Elementary. I've been a teacher for many years, and I want to talk about the Florida Department of Education executive order about opening schools and going to the brick and mortar schools on August 10th. This is not safe for us or for the students going back to school with the COVID-19 going up in the state. I would love to go back and see my students, but I myself am an older person, and I live with my mom, who is 85 years old, and it's not safe for me to go to school and have be with all those people and all those children who might be exposed or might be carriers of the COVID-19 virus. It would be much better if we could start school on August 10th virtually and then work our way into going back to school once it is safe. Many parents want us to go back to school because they think of us more as babysitters than anything else. I know a lot of my parents send their children to school when they're sick. They give them Tylenol in the morning, and then it wears off, and we're not able to get a hold of them later in the day because they don't answer their phone. Like I said, I would very much love to go see the students, but I don't feel it is very safe for us to do that. So a mandate for us to go back to school when we have all this going around is not safe. So I hope you consider this when you are making your plans to reopen school in the fall. I have no problem with going back to school virtually on the 10th. But I do not think it was safe for us to go back into the classroom at this time. Also, I don't know how the 3 or 4 custodians in our school will be able to sanitize the school every single day, and how students, especially early elementary students, would be able to social distance. They have no idea what that means. Are we supposed to be the ones that are supposed to sanitize every day? That's not really in our job description. We are teachers. We're not babysitters, and we want to be safe. Like I said, I am happy to go back to school when it is safe. I really want to see my students, but right now I hope you consider the fact that it is not safe for us to go back to school. Thank you.
Yes, this is Katherine Martinez. I'm a retired teacher and a resident of Palm Beach County. I would like to make the comment that I'm very concerned about opening schools. Virus cases are increasing in Palm Beach County. We have community spread. And if we open the schools, there's going to be more problems. Children are going to pass it, the teachers are going to pass it, the staff members and other students. And schools are not a situation where people can quarantine very easily. What are you going to do with 6 students? What are you going to do if a student tests positive when they come in? And if teachers are going to be sick, they're going to have to quarantine. Are they going to have to use their sick days, or are they going to have special considerations for that? We really need to keep the schools closed until we have an effective vaccine or until we have a medicine. I think, although distance learning is not the ideal format, I think it's something that we need to do right now, for right now. And I hope after this that people will realize how important our public schools are for the community. And thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Frank Breslin. I'm calling about opening schools on time and full time this upcoming fall. It is my position belief that we will be doing more damage than good by not having kids at school in person. The number of COVID cases for the under 18 and underage group is minimal, and it's been, there are studies out there that prove that they do not spread or transmit the virus. So I believe that having the kids in school full time and on time would be the best option for the schools. And I also believe the fact that the number of cases that are minimal and they do not transmit it, if we use proper common sense measures, social distancing, masks, we would, teachers would also be safe. So please open the schools full time and on time, as I believe that we will be doing more damage to the kids than good by keeping them out. And also our teachers would still be safe. Best of luck with the upcoming school year, and thank you. This is Frank Breslin.
Hi there, my name is Jessica Bell. I just have a couple questions. My first question is, I just want to know if the board and the superintendent have the ultimate say in, how we return to school. I thought I was clear on this. However, the governor's executive orders today leave it a little confusing. And then my next question is, I'm curious as to how high-risk teachers will be protected. Will they need to exhaust their leave, or will they just have to resign altogether in order to protect themselves if a full return is mandated in the fall? Okay, thanks so much. Have a good day.
Hi, I just want to say that opening the schools would be a big mistake with COVID going on. I don't feel comfortable sending my children to school until the numbers go down. I don't think we should put the teachers at risk. Name's Eric Richmond. My kid Johnny, I'm not sending him back to school if you guys open. I will go on to virtual school. So don't listen to DeSantis. Just do the smart thing, guys. My tax money pays your salary, so I'm asking you guys to just don't be dumb. All right.
Hello, my name is Rose Milner from Belle Glade. I'm calling about the opening of the schools. About the kids going back to school. Instead of the children changing classes, can't the teachers can't change classes every time they change the subject in their classroom? And leave the kids in their classroom, spread it around. And when lunch comes, can the people bring the children their lunches to the classroom? Instead of the children going getting their lunch and breakfast, can they bring it round and the children just stand there and get their trays and go back to their seats in their class? But when I was in New York a long time ago, that's what our school did for us. And nobody don't have to be going up and down the corridors and everything. They go to the bathroom if they don't have a restroom in their classroom. And when it's time to leave for the day, just go on home and do that. The teachers will go in for math in each class, and if it's a math time, if it's science time or whatever subject they have to do, let the teachers come in, and they're the ones who change in each classroom. And I think that would be a little better for the students. And put their masks on, wash their hands, and do that like that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rhonda Kozer, and my question is now with the emergency order, what actually is going to happen? Because my husband and I are high risk. My son is afraid to go back to school, and he's in an academy. He's going for an ACE diploma. Those classes are not on FLVS. So I would like to know what our options are, because I'm not willing to risk his life, and he's not willing to risk my husband and myself. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nikki Soda, and I am a parent of an 8-year-old who goes to an elementary school in Palm Beach County. I am calling in regards to voicing my strong opinion of having in-person school start in the fall. Although we were one of the fortunate ones to have very good teachers doing virtual learning at the end of the school year, for our daughter, the social component of school is critical. And as both my husband and I work full-time, there is no way that we can be able to sit by her side to ensure that the virtual learning is being adhered to while my husband and I work. For many of my friends who are single working mothers, they are going to have to put their kids in childcare and pay for childcare while their children do virtual learning, while they are working to support mortgage, rent, etc. I am a firm believer in the safety of our children and the teachers, and that does need to be a priority. However, with the children already being out of school for 2 months, I strongly want to encourage you to look at all the options and give us the choice to have the children go back to school in person in the fall. Thank you.
My name is Allison Orrell. I am calling in regards for the agenda topic regarding schools to not get back in session for the fall in a brick and mortar setting. That this is highly dangerous. We have not gotten this virus under control. The numbers in Florida keep going up. I am concerned as a teacher of primary grades that the social distancing, the increased safety measures, the mask wearing, and everything else, it's just not going to be enough. Teaching primary students for many years, I know they are not, able to uphold those kind of high standards in a proper safety way. I also have an at-risk family member. My fiance has a condition with his brain and has a tumor and is dealing with that and under medical supervision and will require surgery and other high-risk medical events. So this is absolutely not an option for me to be able to go back to the classroom. And I'm requesting that you please have us continue remotely at home. I would much rather see my students and be in my classroom, but not if it is the risk of life or death. You cannot replace a life. You can catch up on education and, we can do interventions, but what kind of, just please, I'm at a loss. Please consider consider the families that are really struggling, and we should not be forced into a dangerous situation and a dangerous environment that puts us at risk, puts our children at risk, puts our family members at risk, to every day come home after being in an environment where I'm literally risking my life. I mean, we have movie theaters closed. We have other public restaurants closed. We have places where people gather that are closed. So these are places where groups congregate, and they are not recommended to reopen. And I think we are even in still phase one, if I'm not correct, of the opening. So we cannot possibly equate that kind of caution and then say, well, let's just open up schools and have hundreds and thousands of students and staff be together in an environment, and that's okay though. So thank you for listening and for the time, and I really hope that you consider starting the academic school year for 2020 and 2021 remotely. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Hines. I'm calling today to provide feedback to the board regarding last week's meeting. I want to give Dr. Robinson and Mrs. Andrews a standing ovation for their outspoken knowledge regarding COVID-19 and the dangers that we all face with the physical return to school in August. I'm a teacher and a parent of 2 ESE students attending Palm Beach County schools. I know firsthand how difficult it was to juggle the virtual teaching of students while learning quickly how to navigate Google Classroom with little or no training. During this time, I had to sit with my child and help maintain focus and assist with instruction, while checking in on the other child to make sure that all assignments were completed. Did it all go as planned? No. Were we safe from COVID? Yes. In my heart, I know I would like a return to normalcy, but in all reality, if we return to school so soon, we would be putting all stakeholders at risk. I don't want to live with losing a coworker, a student, or my own child for that matter, to poor decision-making from board members who aren't considering the health and safety of everyone involved. My child's health is really important to me. Both children, one particularly who has a compromised immune system, and having my child wear a mask requires constant changing due to an overproductive salivary gland. I can't afford disposable masks due to the large quantity that is necessary. I also know that social distancing would be difficult to maintain while at school. Parents of children with special needs or compromised immune systems are constantly in a state of heightened alert to ensure their child's protection. We can't expect staff members and teachers to do this with fidelity with all the other demands being placed on them. I am asking Dr. Fenoy and the board to consider the continuation of distance learning until the COVID numbers in Florida subside. Thank you for your time and your dedication to the sensitive matters that will ultimately affect us all.
Hi, my name is Megan Bell, and I'm a parent and a teacher at the Conservatory School at North Palm Beach. I am calling to speak about reopening school year 2020-2021. I'm deeply concerned about the community spread of COVID in Palm Beach County right now. While I would love to get myself and my children back in person into the classroom, it is not safe at this point in time. Dr. Alonso, who's our county health advisor, just spoke in front of the county commissioners today, and she presented data that showed over 1,000 children in Palm Beach County alone have tested positive for COVID. And she said that they have seen significant lung scarring in the lungs of children who have experienced COVID, even once they have recovered. She also noted that the lung scarring can occur even among asymptomatic patients. So when we are asking our families to gather in person in schools, we might be unwillingly spreading this very dangerous disease, which even once you have recovered, you still have serious health impacts from. I am asking that the board consider starting the school year virtually until we can take the steps we need to as a community to slow the spread of COVID. We also need to get our positivity rate well under 10% in order to safely gather, because that means the disease is not being spread around in the community. Thank you very much for your time and attention to this matter, and I appreciate all your hard work to keep us safe. Thank you.
This is Kathy Cook. I'm just calling to voice a concern as an educator of starting in August. I think with the numbers going up, it's not prudent, and we should be looking at a delayed start in September or closer to fall. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I am calling to speak on reopening of schools in August. My name is Jeff Sparks, and I am a teacher of 25 years in the district, but I am also a parent to 2 high school kids in Palm Beach County District. While I understand people's concerns for health risks, I am of sound mind to ask that we please go back in August. As a teacher, I watched my students have great difficulty with depression and anxiety and have some severe issues of domestic violence in their home during the time that we were in quarantine and unable to finish the school year. I am concerned that any more absence from going to school would be detrimental to numerous kids and their health safety. I am also seeing a problem with my own kids of being able to be with other people. Yes, they are able to do classes online. It's not the same thing. Again, I am of sound mind to say we should go back to school with safety precautions in hand. If the theme parks with thousands of people can open and be okay, we have protests and riots, that's okay. We have people all close to each other in various public places. So now we're denying students the right to their education because of health concerns, but we're not stopping other situations because of health concerns. So to me, I don't think that you can have one without the other. Again, please open the schools in August.
Hello, I am Karen Stryker. I'm addressing the agenda topic of the reopening workshop. At this critical juncture, where lives are on the line and education can be successfully conducted remotely, virtual learning is the only safe method for reopening schools. Even one life sacrificed to politicking is too much. We are staring in the face of disaster, and we cannot put on blinders. COVID-19 cases in Florida are skyrocketing. Hospitals full with innocent people have succumbed to a dangerous and extremely contagious disease. Fact, the cases of younger people increasing daily. Is that what we want for our students and staff? We must listen to scientists and doctors. Clearly, the board does not think it's safe to conduct in-person meetings, and hence the board is conducting virtual meetings. If it is not safe for grown men and women in a position of power to sit together in one room, how could anyone in good conscience send innocent children and teachers into classrooms that effectively function as petri dishes? Classrooms that house young children who are not developmentally ready to understand the consequences of certain actions, i.e. keeping on a mask, maintaining social distancing, hand washing, covering sneezes and coughs, not sharing supplies and textbooks. The list of possibilities for contagion are innumerable and have have real consequences for the health of our students, their families, and our staff. We cannot educate a sick citizenry. We must rise above the rhetoric and base our decision on facts and speak truth to power. This is the perfect real-world example of a text-read school. The Emperor's New Clothes. The lessons learned in that story are the folly of accepting without questioning, to stand up and speak when you know the truth, to be critical and objective, and that hard evidence should be what forms the basis of our facts or truth, even if it results in someone's arriving at a conclusion which is not universally popular or politically correct. Given all decisions about reopening are subject to advice and orders of the Florida Department of Health and local health departments, and that the day-to-day decision to open or close schools must always rest locally with the superintendent and school boards in the case of district-run schools, I beseech you to protect those in your charge and treat them as you would your family. Remote learning is the only safe way to reopen schools at this time. I thank you.
Hi, this is Denise Brown, and I'm calling because I am extremely concerned about the health of my children and my grandchildren with the possibility of going back to school. Our governor in Florida is just completely a failure at his taking care of the COVID-19, and it's apparent with his rush to send these children back to school as the numbers are surging. This is insane, and I hope that you will take consideration of, the feelings of the people that want to protect their children, their grandchildren, and try to keep them healthy. Thank you.
Stephen Brown. I was born in Florida and lived in West Palm Beach my entire life. I'm really concerned with the schools. I have grandchildren in the schools, and I have family that works in the school system on it. So with the virus the way it is, I am really concerned with the kids going back to school, and I really think it's a bad idea on it. That my heart just goes out. I know you have some tough decisions to make, but at this point in time, I feel it's best that the kids stay home and in school virtually from home on it. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, hi. My name is Marianne Smith. I'm calling in regards to the teacher workshop about reopening. I am a teacher and very concerned about the safety of everyone involved at the schools, the students, as well as the teachers, of course. It's elementary that I teach, so I know from experience it's nearly impossible to socially distance an entire classroom of elementary students and keep them that way on a daily basis. I have questions about the cleanliness of the school. I'm sure it can be cleaned now. It's summertime, but it's not going to be cleaned on a daily basis. I've never seen a school cleaned that well on a daily basis. I get sick every year. On a good day, I can't imagine with the severity of this virus that we would all be safe. I really feel like everyone is trying to just put everything back the way it was before the virus, and I understand parents do need to work and they are concerned about that, but I am far more concerned about the safety of everyone and kids getting sick, teachers getting sick, and sick for months. This isn't something that you can get over. There's no guarantees how severe it will be. The numbers in Florida are growing so rapidly. I just can't believe that anyone would think we're going to be back to normal in a month. I'm sorry for all of the inconvenience, but I think our safety is far more important. If you have one kid who gets sick and dies, how can you live with that fact? That's too many. One child, too many. One teacher, too many. It's not a safe thing to do at this time, in my opinion. So that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. Thank you for your attention and for giving me this outlet to voice my opinion. Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Schlessel, and I'm a concerned resident of Palm Beach County. I'm very concerned about the community spread of COVID-19 in Palm Beach County and throughout South Florida right now. While I'd love to see everyone go back into the classrooms, I think it's unsafe at this time. Schools should not reopen for in-person instruction until there have been 14 consecutive days of declining new cases, positivity rate under 10%, as the CDC recommends. And even at that time, all CDC recommendations for keeping the schools safe should be followed. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Talat Kayar, T-A-L-A-T-K-A-Y-A-R. I'm a local Palm Beach resident and a local attorney. I'm calling regarding the reopening of our schools this fall. I am hoping that there will not be a full reopening until this until this surge has at least been reduced. I believe the lives of our teachers, our children are at stake here. Things are still very dangerous. We have other options. I would love an online option, a distance learning option, just to keep our kids safe, keep our teachers safe, keep our community safe. Please don't reopen fully. It's not time yet. We've got a long way to go. We're really experiencing our first real surge here in Florida, and things can get a lot worse before they get better via transmission by children to those most vulnerable in our community. So again, I would really hope that we have some options as parents here rather than a full reopening. Thank you. Talat Kayar. Appreciate it. Good luck. Have a good day.
This is Dr. Carlos Diaz. I am chair-elect of the Hispanic Education Coalition of Palm Beach County and professor emeritus in the College of Education at Florida Atlantic University. I'm addressing the reopening of schools in August. There are 3 potential models: face-to-face, hybrid, and purely online. I think that there needs to be a great deal of detail available in each of these options. Even in the face-to-face model, which we think we all know, what happens if students or faculty test positive for COVID. That needs to be prescripted in the plan. In the hybrid model, what is the split between face-to-face and internet? Is it 2 days face-to-face, 3 days internet, 3-2, or some other model? If we go fully online, there were approximately 15% of students at the end of the 2019-20 academic year which had no internet access. Obviously, this needs to be corrected so that in the 2021 school year, all students have access to the internet. And finally, there needs to be individual accountability for every single student by a teacher or educational professional so that if a student is not performing adequately, that a teacher knows and you're able to reach that student as quickly as possible. Also, there needs to be individual help for students beyond the class hours, whether the class hours are face-to-face or hybrid or purely online. And finally, the opening of schools should be made first and foremost according to health criteria in Palm Beach County. While education is critically important, the health of our students and of our faculty and staff has to be the number one criterion. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Isaimi Rodriguez. I am referring to the agenda topic of reopening workshop. My comment is, as a parent especially and as an educator, we should start school later on until the cases have gone down. Since this whole coronavirus, we've had from April to now a difference of 15,156 cases confirmed. So please consider us going back to school later than August 10th. Thank you.
My name is Cheryl Correo, and I represent a large group of almost 1,200 concerned families who want to be offered a choice for back to school, which includes a brick and mortar experience. And in Florida's Constitution, actually, Article 9, it in essence says that all families must have the opportunity for adequate education, and with adequate being the key word. So my question or comment is as follows: how would not offering an option for brick and mortar experience be considered adequate education for children with, say, disabilities, children with IEPs and 504s, or children whose parents work, children who do not flourish with the online platform, or children who would be left alone unattended if they had to do online learning, children whose parents would suffer from financial calamity if forced to be relegated to an online platform, or even children who come from families for whatever reason cannot do the online learning. So I'm going to say this very nicely, but we are demanding an option for brick and mortar learning so that we are in alignment with our constitutional rights. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
I'm Heidi Schaefer, and I'm asking this board to allow a full return for students to the classroom 5 days a week. A staggered schedule just won't work for parents who do have to work outside of the home and provide for their families. Truly, it's the parents of your students who know which method of instruction works best for each of them. They're all unique, and they deserve a right to have an individual plan coordinated into his or her public school education. My friends with the ESC kids are particularly eager for a return to the classroom setting because they feel shortchanged by the lack of ADA accommodations during the distance model in March through May. They're also angry about the loss of speech therapy, OT, behavior modification, as their kids struggled hard to learn via a computer screen. Even my own well-adjusted son, who's straight A student, near perfect or perfect FSAs, did not fare well. Just academically, he did fine because it was a bunch of busy work and most teachers didn't come online. But mentally, he really needs a traditional classroom structure, stimulation, and two-way interaction with his teachers and friends. The mental health effects of distance learning far outweighs any physical risk of youth catching COVID in the classroom, and thousands of your students rely on the sanctuary of school to be safe from abuse and neglect at home. Food insecurity is important, and knowing that substance abuse and obesity have skyrocketed during lockdown should be considered. Suicides have also occurred, and I certainly don't want these tragic consequences to be the result of this county school board superintendent's decisions. The American Academy of Pediatrics stated that kids must return to classrooms. These are experts in their field. They do child health. They are board-certified pediatricians. So make no mistake that the medical community at large in any court of law would choose their expert testimony over any other doctors. Please realize that not all doctors are certified in treating young kids, and they certainly don't understand the data, which is clearly showing that kids are not largely affected by COVID. Out of 21.48 million people in the state of Florida, only 183 kids have been hospitalized from this disease. 3 of them have died. a week. Most healthy kids aren't catching this, and when they do, they're asymptomatic, so they're not capable of spreading it to others. That's what the National Institute of Health study was all about. Please note that even Palm Beach County, only 12 kids total were hospitalized. That's 0.004%. None of them went to the ICU, and they were all discharged. Please, I move to Palm Beach County specifically for your excellence in schools. Please don't let my kids down. Please do the right thing and listen to their voice. At the end of the day, this decision should be solely based on what's in their best interest. Thank you.
This is Beatrice Ramos. I'm calling because I have a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old in Meadow Park Elementary School in Palm Beach County. I am very concerned about kids starting school this fall. My oldest one has asthma and he has a heart problem. And my 7-year-old, he's very skinny. He's got, some sugar issues. I don't think it's safe for kids to go back yet. We have to think this through before sending kids to school. We're not ready yet. Palm Beach County has thousands and thousands of cases a day. Who's going to make sure that our kids are safe at school? Who's going to make sure that they don't contract COVID-19 and bring it home to grandparents and parents? We have to think about this. Just because, the government is telling that it's safe, it's not safe. We have to really think about it. I'm not ready to send my kids back to school yet. Please. This is crazy. Let's just think this through. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lane Meager. I am 10 years old and I go to Palm Beach Gardens Elementary. The reason why I'm calling is to beg you to please give me a choice to go to school full time. I miss my friends and teachers. Every night I pray I will be able to go to school in August. When we did virtual learning, I tried my hardest, but most of the time I got frustrated and cried. And would sign off so my friends and teachers wouldn't see me cry. You see, I have ADHD and I get I still have very hard time once school was over. I was so happy I didn't have to stress out every day. My mom is always told me, even though people are different, we all have the same heart. So please don't punish the kids who had a hard time with virtual learning. Give us the choice. We all have the same hearts. Thank you. Liam Meager. Why? Bye, Liam Meager. Sorry.
My name is Klaus Bell. I'm a Palm Beach County resident, and I am talking on the topic of reopening schools. And I just think that it's really reckless and dangerous to consider opening up in-person school at this point with the level of new cases we're getting. It seems like we're still in a place of really geometric gains in the number of cases, unfortunately. And I think, people have some opinions about the fact that, the virus doesn't spread well amongst kids and things like that. But, this is a new virus. We don't know as much about it as we probably think we do. And then you're also talking about potential adults you're putting at risk as, school employees. And they will bring home, in turn, bring home an infection potentially to their folks, and the numbers will get even worse. So I think this is just really dangerous, to be heading down a road of full reopening at a time when, we're still having thousands of new cases in the state every single day. So what I would really, ask and hope for is a thoughtful, discussion on this that ends with listening to people, who are experts in the field, and of epidemiology, and also, folks who understand how this virus spreads, and making the best decision for our kids, and teachers. I have 3 children in the Palm Beach County schools, and my wife's a teacher, so I have kind of stakes on both sides of this, and I would really hope that the board would choose to at least take a wait and see approach to opening schools, because I'm sympathetic to the argument that kids need socialization, but they also need to be able to breathe with their lungs. So let's please take the safer route of at least taking a wait and see approach on this, and saying that it's likely that we'll delay school opening for the foreseeable future. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, my name is Amanda Petro, and I'm calling in regards to opening the schools in August or September. I would love for the schools to be open because it does give options to parents to either homeschool or bring their kids to school 5 days a week. Parents do need to work, and on top of it, children do need one-on-one contact with other students and teachers with structure. It is their best way to learn. The virtual learning with YouTube was not the best way to learn. Having schools open, everybody the option to either bring their students to school or stay home and teach their school at home. I would love for the schools to open 5 days a week. Also, if you choose to go to school or if you choose to stay home, that they must abide by that for the school year for an extended period of time, so it does not mess up schooling for other students once they choose something like homeschooling and then they want to come to school. That will, I understand, mess up teachers while they're in the middle of teaching, have to backtrack with new students. So once a parent chooses what they are going to do, they need to stick to that. So please open up the schools for these students, especially the elementary students who need the structure. Having virtual learning is not correct learning. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kate Robertson. I would like to address the school board regarding the July 8th workshop topic of reopening schools during this fall. And my concern lies with the fact that we are still technically as a county in phase 1 reopening, according to an article that was posted today. And during phase 1 of reopening, we are not to open schools according to the White House coronavirus Make America Open Again guidelines. And I may be misquoting the title of those guidelines, but the White House put out coronavirus guidelines that indicate that schools should remain closed during phase 1. And the article that I'm citing was put out by NBC Miami about Palm Beach County still being in phase 1 of reopening. So I would like to support Dr. Deborah Robinson's assertion from the last meeting that we please start on August 10th virtually for the safety and health of our students. Today at the Palm Beach County Commissioners meeting, a doctor from the Florida Department of Health shared the statistics that of the children under 18 tested in Palm Beach County, 29% of them were positive for the coronavirus, and that the coronavirus can permanently change the structure of the lungs in ways that doctors are not familiar with at this point in time, because it is a novel virus, and it can result in permanent lung damage and chronic asthma. While we are still in reopening with spiking cases, setting new records every week, to ask students and families and staff to go back into a situation in the classroom where social distancing will be very challenging, if not impossible, is too much to ask of our community. So I ask that you please seriously consider virtually reopening the schools as the position on the school board has requested during the last meeting, if that's still within your power. And thank you very much for considering this comment.
Hi, my name is Molly Priato. I'm a school district employee and a registered nurse. And I'm responding to the agenda topic of going back to school on site in August. And I just wanted to say a couple things. According to the Department of Health for the state of Florida, we have over 1,000 pediatric cases of COVID as of July 3rd. Of those cases, under 18 is tested, 29 were positive. Children have deleterious effects of coronavirus even when asymptomatic, such as noted changes in the lungs, possibly resulting in permanent asthma. Children also can be asymptomatic carriers of the virus to families and adult staff members. Number two, according to the NBC, Miami, Palm Beach County is still in phase 1 of reopening, along with Broward and Palm Beach, all of us. According to the White House coronavirus guidelines, schools should remain virtual until phase 1 of reopening is over, and we are in phase 2. I stand with Dr. Robinson and CTA to request that we remain virtual for August 10th reopening until such a time as our percent positivity rate falls under the 5% as recommended by the World Health Organization for reopening. In recent weeks, our percentage positivity rate has remained anywhere from 15 to 20%, putting our students and ourselves, our staff, in harm's way. As a registered nurse, I truly hope that we have a continued caring for our students and for the staff virtually. We also could have the higher level students, the APA honors classes, all of those be virtual, and have the regular and behavior students and special needs students in the school when the time comes to open the schools. That way we'll have less numbers in schools, and the higher level kids will be able to function on a virtual level, but we'll have less amount of students in the classroom, in the actual classes, and with staff, with smaller numbers. Again, my name is Molly Priato, and I am a registered nurse and working in the school district in another capacity. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Gold, and I'm calling to address the reopening task force. I am the wife of a teacher and the mother of an incoming second grader. I believe the only option we have is to begin school remotely for the safety of all students and teachers. In a commissioners meeting on Tuesday, July 7th, Dr. Alonso, the health director for Palm Beach County, stated she had major concerns regarding the reopening of playgrounds, as she was worried about the risk to not only children, but their caregivers as well. If this concern is present for an outdoor area where children and caregivers would spend a limited amount of time, I cannot comprehend how we can even consider having students and teachers return to school buildings, even in limited quantities. A great deal of focus has been placed on death rates, but there are impacts on people, including children, who are COVID positive but asymptomatic. Dr. Alonso described a deterioration in lungs of asymptomatic children when examined with x-rays, even been around long enough for the lasting implications to be revealed. If 3,000 plus children are already positive within our county without schools being opened, I am certain it will spread like wildfire among both students and teachers. This needs to be a health issue, not a political one. And the number one job of a school, even more so than education, is to provide a safe environment for everyone inside of it. With the numbers where they are right now, please make the safety and well-being of students, teachers, and educational staff of Palm Beach County the number one priority. Thank you.
I'm calling on the agenda topic for the school reopening. My name is Mia Bettis, and I am a teacher working with pre-K students from the hardest hit areas in Palm Beach County. I have medical issues, and my son also has medical issues. We have self-quarantined since March, and now you're going to send me into a hotspot within a hotspot to service 28 3- and 4-year-olds that will not wear masks, are unable to social distance, and come to school even when they're sick. Pre-K teachers are constantly being sneezed on, coughed on, being used as a human tissue, and getting spit on while our students sit across from us. No amount of hand sanitizer or additional cleaning measures will help that. I would like to know how you will ensure staff safety. Thank you.
Hi, this is Leslie Shore, and I live in Palm Beach Gardens. This is in regards to the reopening of schools. I currently have a child that is going into the 4th grade and has an IEP for severe ADD. He is medicated, but it still impairs his learning, and a processing disorder. My question is, how will children with IEPs be serviced if school will only be virtual? Will he have any access to any in-person tutors or helpers just for him? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Gloria Tucker, and I represent about a group of 1,200 families that are frustrated and concerned at this point. These families, including myself, want the freedom to have a choice for our children to return to school campuses. In other counties surrounding Palm Beach County, the superintendents and their staff are giving the choice back to the families whether they want to return to school campuses or do distance learning. There is a lot of frustration out there with the families and a lot of concern. I believe you really need to hear from the parents and what they're going through with their children, especially mentally for their children. I know probably this topic won't come up in this meeting, but the executive order that did come out the other day strongly suggests a brick and mortar 5 days a week. And if there is not a 5 days a week submitted from the districts, then you will have to submit something in accordance to a brick and mortar, according to the Department of Education. I know there is 3 options out there, but the decision should lie with the parents of Palm Beach County and not to the district. Each individual family has different situations at home, whether they work or their children need the attention, they're challenged in some way of learning that they need to be in a class around their peers and with their teachers. It's our constitutional right to choose for our children the best for them. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Crystal Lambert, and I'm speaking about the reopening of schools task force on agenda item 2. Again, my name is Crystal Lambert, and I have 2 children incoming first and second grade at a local elementary school. I'm very concerned about the spread of COVID in Palm Beach, and while my children and all children's education is a huge consideration for me, I am equally concerned about the health and safety of our children, their teachers, their school staff, and their families. With increasing rates of infection in our county, I believe it is unsafe to reopen schools and require students to attend in-person classes. Even with precautions, I question the practicality of in-person school. Do you really expect children to wear masks and PPE all day? What will happen at recess and lunch? How can social distancing be enforced? How can schools sanitize every surface adequately every day and throughout the day? Further, we are seeing that children are in fact becoming ill and that even asymptomatic children are suffering lasting lung damage. How would schools control the spread of the virus from asymptomatic and even symptomatic students? At a minimum, please offer a distance learning option or a hybrid option that helps lives, safety of our children, teachers, staff, and their families takes precedence over education this time. We can make up for lost time with other options like year-round school. I understand that this decision to delay school reopening will cause economic hardship for some families, and we're all concerned about children's lost academic time. I know it's a very hard decision to make to accommodate everyone's needs, and there are many factors at play. However, as leaders, you have to sometimes make difficult decisions for the greater good. I implore you to offer other options for school other than requiring our students return to school full-time in person. Thank you for your time. Best regards.
Hello, my name is Shannon Fox. I live in Jupiter, Florida. I'm calling to implore the board to please have a full school, in-person, full reopening in the fall. And I ask that if some parents want to have homeschooling during the fall, that there be an option for those parents to do that as well. I don't believe that my kids can get the education that they need going into 3rd grade by homeschooling, even if improvements are made over the education that was provided in the spring. I don't think it will be sufficient, and I'm concerned that my kids will fall behind their peers who are in private school and parochial school, who most likely will be going back and will get a full in-person education. In addition to that, I am a full-time Palm Beach County employee, working full-time, going to work every day. My husband works full-time, and I don't know how we will accommodate homeschooling again now that we are both back to work full-time. So those 2 concerns are very much on my mind. In addition, I'd like to point out that I've looked into the cost of private school in the event that public schools are not open, and the cost is very cost prohibitive for many of us parents who they otherwise consider going to private school if public school isn't open. So I'd like you to take into consideration that there are many parents who don't feel that we have much of a choice and that we want our kids to get the best education possible, and that can't be done from home. I ask that you consider to just take every health precaution that we can take, whatever is required to make school as safe as possible, and take into consideration the Children's Pediatric Association, if I got the name wrong, has stated that they think it's best for children to go back to school as well. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
My name is Teresa Rosario, and I'm leading a comment on the 7/8/20 special meeting on school reopening plans. I understand that everyone wants to get back to a normal life, but I am a 65-year-old grandmother watching my grandchildren. It doesn't matter what happens. If the children come back to school and they carry the virus back home talking to the grandparents, that's not a good thing. The most important thing is not one individual, but every individual. These children historically, and I have 4 children and 10 grandchildren, when the school year begins and the children go back to school, they always get sick, always with something. So we've all been undercover here for several months, and now everybody's white cell count is going down. And when they go back, even if they're wearing masks, it's going to be an issue. The masks themselves are an issue because you're breathing in dirty air. Please decide not to open the schools and go back to the virtual school for now. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Haven't we learned anything by the early opening of all these businesses? Please consider the health and well-being of everyone. It's not a matter of economics that should come first. It's a matter of health. Thank you so much for your time and listening to me. And please make the right decision and say to yourself, how would I want to be treated if this was my family? Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Mandy Boody, B-O-O-D-Y. I am calling in regards to the meeting topic regarding the opening of schools in fall of 2020. I do not feel at this time that it is safe for my children nor the faculty at schools at this time to reopen at full capacity in normal mode in regards to scheduling. We will be homeschooling our children via FLVS, and if you could offer a remote type learning, a distant learning as well, I think that would be the best idea. I don't feel it safe for anyone to be back at school in full capacity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Fenoy and board members. My name is Hope Shirey, and I'm a teacher at Polo Park Middle School. I'm speaking today on the reopening of schools on August 10th. School safety is paramount for a learning environment, and it's for this reason that I'm advocating that on August 10th, 2020, students returned to school in a distant learning environment for at least the first quarter of school or until Palm Beach County reaches the CDC recommendation of 10% of COVID-19 cases for no less than 14 days. As students, staff, and teachers return to the brick and mortar traditional setting, it is my fear that the community is further at risk of continued infection. When the schools open in the brick and mortar traditional setting, ample safety measures need to be there to protect teachers and staff and students, such as daily temperature checks, masks or face shields for all on campus, plexiglass barriers in the classroom, as well as social distancing guidelines. I know you all have a extremely difficult decision to make, and you're not going to make the entire community happy, but I am trusting in you again to value our safety and our lives. As an educator, I would prefer to be in class with my students, but we can't be with our students if we're sick, if they're sick, if we're dead. So I'm asking you again and advocating to open safely in a platform distance learning, at least for the first quarter, until our community can get a handle on COVID-19. Thank you.
Hello, I'd like to speak to the topic of returning to school. My name is Lorraine Fitz, and I'm a French teacher at Spanish River High School. The coming school year is my last before retirement. I would love nothing more than to be in my classroom with my students. However, Dr. Robinson, you are absolutely right. We must base our decisions on science, and there is more than adequate nonpartisan science to be had, despite the opinion of one of your colleagues. Surveys can be a meaningful tool in a limited setting. This is far from a limited setting. Surveys give people options. You hit the nail on the proverbial head. We do not need options. We need knowledgeable leaders who will take the scientific data and step up to the plate. New York City was nearly brought to its knees by this pandemic. The leaders did not survey the population and ask the kinds of questions our surveys asked. They made strong, definitive, and often unpopular decisions based on the facts. The goal, to keep the people safe. It worked and is still working. The gradual approach that you described is the approach that the preeminent medical experts in this country have been supporting for months. We need to follow their advice. It would be truly criminal to allow our decisions to become politicized. Thousands of people have died in our country as a direct result of this thinking. Thank you for your counsel. Gather the facts, be strong leaders, and make wise decisions in a timely manner. Thank you for hearing my comments.
Hello, my name is Sarah Hackbarth, and I am a teacher here in Palm Beach County. I do not believe that brick and mortar schools should be open come August. I do believe that schools should resume in August, but digitally. Schools closed in March when there were 10 times less cases. This virus is growing and changing, and we are learning more awful things about it all the time. It is not a good time to go back to school to increase our numbers of positive cases as well as deaths. I am not willing to sacrifice my 1-year-old's health or life, nor am I willing to sacrifice his father's, who has asthma. If you open schools, you will be asking teachers to choose between the career that they love and their family. Most teachers will choose their family from what I have seen shared on social media platforms. You say that you want to give choices to parents, but what happens if there are too many students back in school and not enough teachers who want to be there? Where is our choice? I want to teach digitally because I know that it is the safest option for everyone at this time. And I know that I and so many other teachers out there are willing to do a really good job at it. We will work to make it work. It's safer for students, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers, bus drivers, lunch ladies, strangers in the community, everyone. It is the only safe option at this time for everyone. But what if you still give choices anyway? But what if there are too many kids at school? Do I lose my choice? At what point is parent choice more important than the teacher's choice? This is truly a matter of life and death. Please do not choose illness and death. Let's start remotely and save lives. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, my name is Nina Boynton, and I'm calling about opening schools, and I am definitely opposed to that under the current conditions. I think we need to have the curve a lot flatter before we even think about opening the schools. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck with coronavirus for a lot longer. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hi, my name is Erin Haig. I am calling from Lake Worth. I have 2 elementary school children, kindergarten and 2nd grade, who attend Formosa School of the Arts in Delray. I am calling regarding the topic of reopening schools for today's meeting, July 8th. I would like to propose that our school board considers a few different options for parents and teachers to choose from. Our county is so huge, and you guys serve a large variety and a diverse demographics, and every school in each community has different needs. And so to try to find a one solution fits all approach isn't necessarily going to be realistic or best for the county at large. So I would suggest offering 2 different track options. The first track option would give parents and teachers the ability to choose to opt in to a 100% virtual platform from the safety of their home. Option number 2 would give parents and teachers the option to choose an in-school track where school is facilitated in the classroom. Each school would have 2 different track options, and they would have capacity for each track. Teachers and parents can then opt in or apply for their preferred track. And that way, trying to everybody and their needs. If there is a situation where one track reaches capacity, the parent or the teacher can opt to remain on a wait list, or maybe the possibility exists where they can be moved to a different school that does have options and seats still available on their preferred track. This is similar to how the choice program is handled, and I think that this could potentially be a good option for Palm Beach County. Thank you for hearing my suggestion, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the county decides on July 15th. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Monica Woodall. I am calling about the July 8th agenda. I am a teacher and a mom of two boys. One is going to 4th grade at a Choice Elementary School, and my other son will be going into 7th grade at a Choice Middle School. I am at a different elementary school as my 9-year-old, as that my school is an extended day, usually 5 out of 6 of my years being there, so my son will need aftercare. I am sadly not agreeing with going back full-time or even the hybrid model while coronaviruses are on the rise. I have a medical condition stated in the CDC guidelines as high risk, and both my children are asthmatic when sick. We all know most times when the schools open, children get sick within the first 2 months with the virus slowing down anytime soon. It would be irresponsible to go back face-to-face. My 12-year-old told me he feels scared to go back to school because he doesn't want to get the virus. I love my job, my school, my students, and my colleagues. I would hate to take a chance to see anything happen to any one of us or our families. It is way too soon to open. We have only shut down go and open the county and state too rapidly. There are so many people not following CDC guidelines, and this is just at the grocery store. Also, this is why I now order my groceries online. Many times prior to COVID, parents sent their children to school sick, knowing very well they threw up the night before or had a fever. I think taking thermal scans is not going to work for a few reasons. 1, asymptomatic students. 2, parents are masking fevers with Advil or Tylenol prior to coming to school. And 3, how in the world do you scan 1,200 students? How are students supposed to social distance on a bus? Buses are full of capacity. If at all times buses need to also pick up double. My middle school will be needing a bus to get to his choice school. In the classroom, how are teachers supposed to facilitate best practices when they are supposed to be 6 feet apart? How are teachers supposed to handle students that display ODD or a child who is on the spectrum and needs physical help? What about the kindergartner that cries for the first 2 weeks of school, that needs comfort or needs to help to get to the classroom, screaming and crying and refusing to walk into the hallway? These moments break my heart, but all I want to do is show a friendly smile, but I can't. Or hold their hand to help them get safe and confident to their classroom. How are we to limit class sizes when schools are busting at the seams? As I said, I am a teacher and a parent, and I understand the need to go to work, but what if we go back and we get sick and have to quarantine, or if my son's class or school's quarantine? I have to stay home. I am curious to know how schools will properly clean and sanitize if before COVID I was walking my floors that sweat daily, or we were short custodians and were asked to put our trash by the door to help the custodians. Yet my soap dish in the art room was empty for 2 weeks. In the children's bathrooms, there were many times no soap or paper towels. How will this help prevent the spread? Speaking of washing hands and the CDC guidelines, this will take much loss of time for instruction. Until these cases decrease, we really need to flatten the curve, and we should start school on time online. I'm confident in myself and in my colleagues and all Palm Beach County teachers to facilitate the beginning of academic year virtually. Thank you.
Good afternoon, school board members. I would like to speak on the topic of the reopening of our schools in August of 2020. Some statistics for your consideration, please. The COVID-19 pandemic suggests that this virus spreads more efficiently than influenza and has multiple means of transmission. The more closely a person interacts with others and the longer that interaction, the higher the risk of COVID-19 spread. Keep that in mind for when our students are back in the classroom. On July the 6th, the Florida Department of Education issued an order requiring that all schools reopen for in-person classes in the fall. The reasons include education is critical to the success of the state, individuals, and that keeping schools closed would impede the educational success of students, impact families' well-being, and limit many parents and guardians from returning to work. On the same day, Palm Beach County government statistics indicated that Florida had over 6,000 new COVID cases. On the next day, July the 7th, Florida had over 7,000 new COVID cases. Since Monday, July the 5th, Palm Beach County alone has had over 680 new COVID cases. I'm giving you this information to underscore the reality of what we are up against today, as opposed to the middle of June when reopening surveys were gathered. For sure, if we open schools in the fall, we will be jeopardizing the health of our most vulnerable and underrepresented population, our children. As a teacher, I am aware of how quickly illnesses are spread within our walls. Each year, without fail, and despite our diligent efforts to maintain cleanliness and reinforce good hygiene, we are exposed to colds, flus, viruses, bacteria, parasites, and a host of other communicable health concerns. Our schools are our second home. Students socialize with each other as well as with staff. Students share snacks, drinks, pencils, notebooks, they high-five, they hug. My point is that no matter how many cleaning protocols or see-through barriers or masks or hand sanitizers are presented, there is no way that we can keep staff and students safe. Teachers will be grateful to get back to school, make no mistake about that. We want to interact with our students. We want to teach. It is a very intimate profession. We want to share the children's experience. We want to share our own experiences with our colleagues, but not at the risk of jeopardizing the safety of our students or ourselves. My name is Louise Vallejo. Thank you for your time.
My name is Beth Kish. I am a 24-year veteran with the Palm Beach County School District. I have concerns about opening school buildings because I have autoimmune issues, and it's become known to me this summer that they are worsening. Unfortunately, for myself, I am a higher risk person. Although I love being in the classroom and teaching my babies, I'm fearful for my life at this point if we go to a open school classroom setting. Could it be considered that some of us in this situation can be remote teachers, online teachers, if indeed opening the school facility buildings is the decision? Thank you. My name is Beth Kish.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen Pensker. First of all, I wanted to thank all the school board members that have talked with myself and my husband. I'm just calling. I'm sure you guys are well aware of the Florida Commissioner's recent order to open all brick and mortar schools in August. I just wanted to leave you with some important thoughts. As you know, some students may be returning to the building. There are other counties like Lee County that will not be requiring the mask. I just wanted to remind you that a mask, again, is considered a medical treatment that requires the consent and oversight of a doctor who can explain the risks and the benefits of wearing a mask. As my husband and I have been working with the district, we have provided you with numerous peer-reviewed articles showing the risk of wearing masks, that the mask can actually increase infection because our students will not be trained in how to wear them. What happens when the students go to PE or recess and they have to take the mask off, or when they go to lunch? We know that the students will most likely be touching their faces throughout the day, and this goes against keeping the mask sterile and clean. The one author, Betta M. Stotler, who is the former director of the Institute for Immunology at the University of Bern, he's a biologist and professor emeritus, says, quote, young and healthy people who currently walk around with a mask on their faces would be better off wearing a helmet instead, because the risk of something falling on their head is greater than that of getting a serious case of COVID-19, end quote. Statistically speaking, students have a chance, the likelihood of them getting COVID, they're more apt to be struck by lightning 2 times. That's also been said and established. Mask also, you can measure using, there's videos done by physicians. There was one done by a state representative. When you wear the mask, you can actually measure it using a pulse oximeter, and you will see that the oxygen levels fall. OSHA has established that the oxygen levels within the environment must be maintained at 19.5%. And if students are mandated to wear a mask all day, their oxygen levels will definitely be depleted. My concern, too, is that I highly support brick and mortar. As we saw with this past spring, 4,036 students had limited access and went online an average of less than 2 times per week. 383 students were never logged on during distance learning. So I know this is such a difficult decision for you. The number of cases, the media claims are going up. The definition of what constitutes a case has also changed. We now know that if a person tests positive for COVID, that's +1. And then they go ahead and add the 16 other people on average that that person has contact with. So one positive. Please remember that COVID does not exist in a vacuum. We have other issues. Our child suicide rate is
Hello, my name is Katherine Martinez. I am a secondary teacher and parent of a newborn baby. In addition to having a child under 1 year old, I also have an elderly parent with pre-existing conditions who is an integral part of our household. I love our public schools, and I love my job, and I yearn for schools to open as much as everybody else who loves schools, as much as students, parents, and teachers and school support people are yearning to go back to school. But it's unfair to reopen schools and compel students or employees to attend in person if our health and safety are at risk. In that case, I support a delayed start to the school year to give both teachers and parents a chance to become more proficient with innovative platforms like online learning. Then, depending on the conditions in our county, we could move to a hybrid schedule and finally, one day, resume in person when there is no longer a threat to our health and safety. Thank you very much for listening to my comments.
My name is Jennifer Lanunziata, a speech-language pathologist for the School District of Palm Beach County, sharing my thoughts on the reopening of schools for the 2020-2021 school year. It is an honor and a privilege to share my voice with you, for I speak for the voices who cannot speak for themselves. Over the course of my 16 years as a district employee, I served our community as a middle school ESD teacher, elementary school SLT, a diagnostician, and a mentor. I speak from a place of advocacy for the children and families who rely on the collective us to protect them. children whose medical conditions and communication abilities would limit their education in other countries. We collectively agree that all children be provided a free and appropriate public education. We are facing times like we've never seen before, a global health crisis, not an educational crisis, a global health crisis. A health crisis which could irreversibly alter the life of the children and families we serve, as well as the teachers and staff who serve them. While the traditional setting of school feels safe and routine, and many are eager to return, schools are now a place of uncertainty and fear due to COVID-19. Let me be clear, not one life is expendable. We need to rise together as a collective community to support each other during these uncertain times. The challenge that lies ahead is not figuring out how to open schools through brick and mortar, but rather how do we keep our citizens safe till there are treatments and a vaccine available to derail this vicious virus. I humbly request a virtual start to the first 9 weeks and a continued reevaluation of the number of positive cases and hospital capacity day by day as we move forward. We do this to protect our most vulnerable. We do this because we collectively agree that not one life is expendable. I extend my appreciation to the superintendent and board, as this challenging decision will not be made lightly. Whatever is decided will displease some. However, the goal is the best interest of students and all those employed. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Good morning. My name is Junaid Hussain, and I am a parent at William T. Dwyer High School. I'm deeply concerned about the community spread of COVID in Palm Beach County right now. While I would love to get my child back into the classroom, I feel it is unsafe at this time. We should not go back to school in person until we have 14 days of declining new cases and a positive rate under 10% like the CDC recommends. I really appreciate for you to receive this message. I wanted to share my opinion. Thank you very much. And thank you for all you do, and most concerned about the safety of our children in this county. Thank you. Bye.
My name is Rubina Hussain. I'm a parent at Dwyer High School. I'm deeply concerned about the community spread of COVID in Palm Beach County right now. I would love to get my son back into the classroom. It is unsafe. At this time, we should not go back to school in person until we have 14 days of declining new cases and a positivity rate under 10%, like the CDC recommends. Thank you. And my name is Rubina Hussain. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good morning. My name is Dave Baxter, calling in regards to students returning to the classroom full-time. I strongly believe that the students need to return to classroom for all of the obvious reasons. However, at this time, I don't feel that the classrooms would be safe for the students, the faculty, and the parents and grandparents of the students once they return from the classroom. My recommendation or consideration would be for the school board to consider postponing full classrooms in the fall, revisit this in November, and have a decision rendered for the January session of returning to school full-time with classrooms. Thank you for your consideration.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Brook Friedman. I am not only a parent of 2 children within the Palm Beach School District, I am also a teacher that teaches special needs, pre-K ESE. I also have a husband who has a underlying medical health condition where he had a triple bypass at the age of 35. He's only 43. I'm very concerned about how I can ensure that if we do go back brick and mortar, how do I ensure in my classroom of students that are the ages of 3 and 5 with disabilities that they can adhere to social distancing, especially when I have to change diapers and help toilet. How do I also ensure that I don't contract the virus and bring it home and pass it on to my husband, who would most likely not recover from the virus? I am very concerned for my children as well. My other questions would be how and what do we do if a child or a staff member in the classroom becomes sick? Does the whole class quarantine? Do we have to keep testing until we come back negative? I'm just very concerned about all the logistics. I feel that virtual distance learning would be best until we can get the viral load in our county down to an acceptable number to where we would feel safe and have less risk of transmission. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
Hi there, my name is Morgan Elise. I'm calling to comment on the school reopening. I really feel very strongly that it's not time to open the schools up quite yet. It's way too early. The cases are too high. There's just so many moving parts, and the risk that we would be exposing the students and the staff and the teachers is just exponential, because you have to consider not only the behavior of the students in each school, but you're also dealing with their siblings in other schools, their grandparents, their parents who may be also working. It increases your contact by, an unmeasurable number. It's just so much. High school students, you have stories in other states of high school kids having corona parties. High schoolers, it's hard to keep them in line, and everyone's stressed out. But also the younger kids in elementary school, they just maybe don't understand the gravity of the situation. So in order to keep fully on track all these different aged kids, it's just a lot of work. And I can't imagine being a kid myself being terrified. My own son has asthma and is just susceptible to pneumonia. He did particularly well at the end of last quarter being remote. As his grades improved, he actually went to school. It just, without the stress of not knowing who's sitting next to you could be infected, it's just got to be terrifying. Our children are the most precious thing, and we should be doing everything we can to protect them, especially now that there's still time to streamline the process to implement virtual school. At the end of last quarter, I think all the teachers did a great job implementing it then. My husband also teaches at a school. They did a great job, but, in a rush. But imagine, if we take this time now before the school year opens to really streamline everything and get it organized, I think that we could do a really great job virtually, and just not have everyone go back until the numbers are down consistently. Because right now, just as the numbers are surging, it seems like the worst possible idea. And as the parent of a high school child and wife of a high school teacher, we've spent the last 5 months being very cautious, and it breaks my heart to think that would all have been for nothing. So I really hope that you all decide to
do what's in the best interest for the kids and the staff, and to not rush the process. Just let things, calm down before we put our most sensitive population at risk, because it's not worth it. The health and safety of our children is the most important thing, especially with school, where we've shown that it can be done remotely. There are plenty of jobs like grocery workers that have to be in person, and I get that, and that's terrifying, and they're heroes for doing it. But if we can do it remotely, we should, because it's not worth putting at risk so many thousands and thousands of people. Thank you.
Hi, this is Diane Hanfman. I'm leaving comments for the workshop on school reopening this afternoon. Thank you. In my brief comments, I provide Worldometer data from this morning and a definition. I end with a comment of gratefulness. Worldometer data. Palm Beach County has more coronavirus cases, 17,638, than 18 states. Palm Beach County has, with 563 deaths, more deaths than 20 states. Palm Beach County has more cases than each country on Worldometer, numbered 59 through 215. Palm Beach County has more deaths at 563 than at least 105 countries. All data was taken from Worldometer this morning. My second point is only a definition. I'm not a lawyer, but I wish to bring this term to your workshop for decision making. Reckless endangerment is a crime consisting of acts that create a substantial risk of serious physical injury to another person. The accused person isn't required to intend the result or potential harm, but must have acted in a way that showed a disregard for the foreseeable consequences of the actions. And third, I thank the board for protecting the students and staff, and especially a shout out to Dr. Robinson for her unique actions. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hello, I would like the school board to consider keeping our students home and learning virtually until we have COVID under control. I am concerned for the health and safety of my family, including myself as a teacher. Thank you, Janine Marley.
Hi, my name is Crystal Ramsey, and I'm calling regarding the topic of school openings for Palm Beach County schools. I believe that the schools should offer a part-time concept where children are able to go to school on alternating days in person, either 2 to 3 times a week, and the other days would be done virtually. This way they get a good balance of seeing their peers and getting back into the social settings of schools, but also limiting the amount of exposure and the amount of children that are in the school at one time. I also recommend different start and finish times, possibly having the kindergartners finish earlier and older kids finish later, or vice versa. I think it's important to have a balance of both in-person and virtual until the coronavirus numbers go down and we're able to get the numbers under control. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
My name is Daniela Vega, and I want to make a comment regarding reopening in the fall. The numbers are worse now than when we shut down back in March. It's not logical to reopen schools now, and it makes us look, honestly, very irresponsible. We're potentially putting millions of lives at risk, and instead of debating whether or not we should be reopening right now, we should be finding a way to educate our students online better. You guys have the resources to figure out how to educate people from home. You have teachers who are willing to do it. You have students who are willing to stay home and be taught from home. You guys need to be debating whether or not how to best educate people online.
Good morning, Palm Beach School Board. We are looking for our kids and the kids of Palm Beach to have only virtual school this year. We want the teachers, nurses, and school staff not exposed to this virus. Thank you very much. This is Dinesh Kaipa. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Clara Pandora. I am an elementary school teacher. I teach at New Horizons Elementary. I am calling to give my opinion about the reopening of schools. I look forward to being able to be in my classroom and greeting my students. Just so excited about meeting them and being able to teach them. However, this year, with the number of cases right now in our county growing, I am fearful. And as a parent of a special needs and a high-risk child, I am not ready to go back the school year. I just had a family member, they tested positive and they contracted the COVID through the youngest family member who plays sports. So children do pass it and can be the silent carriers, as my son's cardiologist refers to the younger students or younger children. So I would hope that our safety and the safety of our students come first, and then looking forward to being able to physically go back on campus when the positivity rate is at a lower rate than it is right now. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tangela Price. I am calling regarding the July 8th meeting, and I wanted to share my concerns because based on all of the news and the information that we have received, the state is moving towards opening up the school. And Palm Beach County, along with Dade and Broward, are hot spots for the coronavirus. I am a school district employee. My husband is a school district employee. We have kids in the school district. And opening or sending us or mandating us to go back to school, in my opinion, is just quite frankly a death sentence. I have lost people to coronavirus, and it's just traumatizing to think that if we go back to school and get sick, I personally have underlying conditions, and it is absolutely horrifying to think that if I get sick, I may not pull through this, and my kids will then have to deal with moving on with life without their mom. I feel like it is literally sending us to a battle that we cannot win because we don't have protection, we don't have treatment, we don't have vaccines, and I am honestly flabbergasted by the fact that we took the time to shut down our public beaches, but we're literally thinking that opening up our schools to these same crowds, but more, is wise. I don't think it's wisdom. I don't think you're really thinking about how people will survive it, even if they get sick and don't die. The financial repercussions that it will have on families. It is insane. I say don't do this until we can open schools safely. I don't want politics to influence why my family has to take another loss. Please consider that we are not ready. The numbers are going up. They're higher than they were when we first closed school down. Please do not mandate people to choose between their health and their job, because we need both to be healthy. Thank you.
Hi, this is Ashley Casacito. I guess my comment would be related to strategic themes on the agenda, positive and supportive school climate. We think it would be a good idea especially if they're going to continue with online classes. If you could get a committee together, students, parents, and teachers to get together and find ways to improve online learning. I know that there's some, we don't know what's going to happen in a few months. Cases are going up. I know we may be reopening the schools, but some classes might continue online. And I think it's important, especially because students jumped into online classes really rapidly. I think it would be good to sit down and have a committee to figure out how online learning can be improved. Okay, thanks again. Bye.
Hi, this is Pavla Palumbo. I'm calling in regards to agenda item POLGC number 1. I live in Jupiter, Florida, and my 2 children attend Palm Beach County Public Schools. In regards to the reopening of the schools during the pandemic of COVID-19, I have 2 concerns. I feel that we are rushing and opening the schools way before we should, as the numbers in the state continue to climb. We are one of the states with the highest amount of positive cases in the country, and we are, in my opinion, pushing parents to put their children back into a public school setting. I would hope that if that was the case, there'd be consideration for families who have children who have asthma or other, immune compromised conditions that would make them going back to school unsafe for them, or if they have members of their family. So my personal opinion is that schools should be pushed back, delayed start, January of this year. Hopefully we would have a vaccine by then, and then have the kids go to school throughout the rest of the year, including the summer, and make up what they've missed then. I do not feel that Palm Beach County Public Schools has the resources currently to facilitate a safe, socially distant learning environment. Are we going to have barriers in between the desks? How are we going to ensure that one teacher can handle the kids in the classroom? If there is an option for virtual learning as well, what will that look like? I mean, one teacher with 10 kindergartners socially distanced in a line to go to the bathroom is 60 feet long. Like, who's going to look after all those kids? And especially with the younger kids, my son is 7 years old, and he barely makes it home with both of his shoes on. So just the idea of him being responsible and keeping a mask on his face, I mean, we can try and we can practice, but I don't see that being successful. Little kids are very impulsive. They don't understand the full scope of the situation and what they need to do to keep themselves safe, because, I mean, they're children. He's 7. So, again, I mean, my recommendation, or, my hope, what would make me comfortable as a parent, would be having school pushed back until January. I don't think that Palm Beach County has the resources, is able to hire the staff, to train them, and to make it a socially distant, safe environment as far as coming back to school. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Subject is reopening in-person classes in August. My name is Nisreen Kakli. I am a grandparent at Dwyer High School, grandparent of a student at Dwyer High School. I am deeply concerned about the community spread of COVID in Palm Beach County right now. While I would love to get my grandchild back into the classroom, it is unsafe at this time. We should not go back to school in person until we have 14 days of declining new cases and a positivity rate under 10%, like the CDC recommends. I am using the 5% positivity rate via the WHO. Thank you.
Maureen Alvarez calling on July 8th, agenda item number 2, options for the 2021 school year. The SDRE order that came out earlier this week gives the board and district some flexibility, and that flexibility will depend on local health department advice. The same individuals that have opened county summer camps for children will allow private schools to open, will allow charter schools to open, and are allowing what I refer to as pop-up schools, tutors that are banding together and renting space to provide full-time education to children starting in August. This all begs the question, if these other schools can open safely, why can't the public schools do the same? Also, looking at this from a business perspective only, has the board considered that not opening schools will drive those that can with means to enroll in private schools? How many members of CTA will lose their jobs or be removed from their schools due to the drop in enrollment after the waivers have ended? Please discuss this during the meeting. During the July 1st meeting, a board member stated, I am raising my hand standing with CTA, distance learning on August 10th. Why not raise your hand standing with the children you were elected to serve and the CTA? The district has set aside $10 million of the CARES Act funds for Wi-Fi computers and distance learning programs. What is for the remaining $29 million? What risk mitigation supplies have been ordered since March or even recently? How much of the $39 million has been set aside for the reopening of schools, brick and mortar? Please discuss. Also, please discuss how you can take the position it is not safe to reopen schools when you do not know how many children plan on attending any given school in person, and therefore you do not know what risk mitigation protocols are feasible for each school. If the district chooses a distance learning only option, it is ignoring an entire segment of the children it is obligated to serve. Board members already know that distance learning does not work for all children. As an example, board and district representatives have stated, the problem with virtual is we are not educating our children. We are not meeting our expectations with distance learning. Remote learning is not good. Children are really suffering. We are already doing harm. All of you know that school is the safest place for some kids, that some children need to attend school due to mental health and other reasons. All of you know the critical role a teacher plays in the daily life of a child. With all of this knowledge, how can you vote to provide a distance-only option? If you vote for a distance-only option, you are not putting the health and safety of the children that need to attend in person first. You are putting them last while subjecting them to known harms. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Gary Kovacs. I'm calling on agenda item 2, reopening the schools. I have a 6th grader, a rising 7th grader, and a rising 12th grader in Palm Beach County Public Schools. I think it's clear that distance learning is not the same as in-person learning, and that the public schools are doing a disservice to the children in considering to remain in distance learning. I think that's obvious in that the private schools are all reopening, so once again, the wealthy parents' kids will get ahead while the public school kids fall behind. I think that the older high school kids will not be able to qualify for Bright Futures or complete their ACE diplomas to obtain scholarship money, and that will negatively impact many children's ability to go to college and to afford college. The American Academy of Pediatrics has said schools need to be open in person, and I think it is incumbent on this board to come up with a safe plan so that any child who wants to attend school in person has the ability to do so this fall. That will ensure that they can get proper instruction as well as work towards scholarship and college money, just like the kids in the Palm Beach County private schools. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Iman Hassan, and I'm the older sister of a student at Dwyer High School. I am deeply concerned about the community spread of COVID-19 in Palm Beach County right now. While I would love to get my younger brother back into the classroom, it is unsafe at the time. We should not go back to school in person until we have 14 days of declining new cases and a positivity rate under 10%, like the CDC recommends. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Adam Sears. I am a resident of Palm Beach County in the city of Riviera Beach. I lived in West Palm Beach and Riviera Beach all of my life. I am calling in regards to the topic of whether schools should be forced to open in the month of August. To which I say, I worked in the medical field before I was recently laid off. I saw COVID patients up front, close and personal. This disease is not a joke. It affects everyone from kids up to the elderly. Very easily passable or contagious. Definitely not a joke. The fact that we closed down schools in March and April to try to contain the spread, but then we turn around and open the schools and the spread has gotten much, much worse, is absolutely ridiculous to me. If we're going to open up the schools, then I think we should do some type of closing down of the county again, because obviously reopening too early was a big mistake. And it just makes absolutely no sense for us to put our kids at risk when we're also talking about closing down other businesses to try to slow down the spread. I'd rather get it than to have my two daughters get it. Understand? I'm not sending my kids to school until we have a control on this virus. I don't care if the schools are forced to open or not. As a father, I'm not sending my kids to school until I feel that the environment is safe, and there are many other parents who feel the same way. So I'm just going to leave it as that. I think it's absolutely ridiculous to talk about forcing the schools to open when we haven't gotten a hold of this pandemic yet. Actually, first and foremost, we should try to get a complete grasp on it in Palm Beach County. We're one of the biggest hotspots in the country now. And we closed, but we opened too early. Everyone felt like we were reopening too early, and now we're suffering for those poor choices. So we shouldn't follow that up with more poor choices. So until that happens, dollars of Arkansas, I'm going to end this comment.
Hello, my name is Angelique Contreras, and I am calling on the reopening workshop. As we know, European countries have reopened with zero surges in cases, such as Austria, Belgium, Denmark, etc. With contact tracing efforts in these places, they have proven that transmission from child to adult is non-existent. Brown University's recent research on daycares with 25,000 children found that only 0.16% got COVID, and out of the 9,000 teachers, less than 1% got infected. Also, the YMCA shows out of 40,000 kids at 1,100 sites, there was no reports of COVID positive cases. Doctors all throughout this country have stated this virus does not impact the children, and there has been very little evidence to show kids are infecting adults. If we know all of these facts, why are we still concerned on reopening our schools this fall? Our children have been so heavily impacted by these unnecessary closures. Many students rely on the public school system for food, sheltering, counseling, and socialization. And we have found, and we have taken away all of that from them. It is, in my opinion, schools need to be fully reopened with zero restrictions, and the Department of Education also states that schools must reopen 5 days a week and include the full array of services. I believe that our schools need to be fully reopened with zero restrictions, no masks,
I know that my child had a very difficult time concentrating at home while working on the computer. She had very little access to her teacher, and when she did, it was only for 30 minutes with all of the other students, and I had an even hard time getting emails back and forth with the teacher to help with any of the classwork. So I appreciate the time, and everybody have a great day.
Hi, I'm Robert Pensker. I have cited multiple research previously shared with this body, representing published research from approximately the past 15 years. It represents apolitical scientific findings using rigorous methods. It is not my work, my science, your science, or political. It's an established body of research that shows that masks, even worn in a sterile environment such as a hospital, healthcare workers that are trained to use them properly still cause various health problems, including drowsiness, lack of judgment, etc. We know that if trained individuals have problems with that, then our children certainly will. They'll keep touching it. It's only common sense that more likely leads to higher levels of infection. Also, COVID is not the only pandemic to reach the U.S. The century before, H1N1 and other influenza-related pandemics occurred and have been resolved in less extreme measures. I want to reiterate that COVID does not operate in a vacuum. The Kaiser Family Foundation, according to the records of the pandemic, has negatively affected 56% of adults' mental health, and calls to the Federal Emergency Mental Health Hotlines were 1,000% higher in April 2020 than in April 2019. I submit that if adults have been so anxious, depressed, suicidal, considering engaging in overdoses, etc., that our children are even more prone to these conditions. I also recently sent an article that talks about from immunologist, Swiss immunologist Beta and Stadler. It states that not assume any pre-existing immunity to COVID is incorrect. It goes on to explain the important role of T cells, helping the antibodies rid the body of the virus, and of course T cell information can be found in many medical periodicals that can back up his statements. Stadler states that PCR testing, otherwise healthy people, what has been termed asymptomatic, is picking up dead virus particles found in the nose or throat. Thus, these people who should be negative because they do not carry live viruses are incorrectly counted as positive. This is a critical issue if the body, if your group is solely making policy decisions based on number of cases. And therefore, we would like to know how this body, if this statement is inaccurate. Are tests being done in Palm Beach County involving all labs that are regulated by the FDA for verification and integrity, or are they done primarily by private labs that verify themselves? And are using these tests, are they powerful enough to distinguish between live and dead viruses? The burden of proof is on this group to prove to the parents of Palm Beach County that these points are inaccurate. Stadler makes a compelling point that there are no healthy sick individuals. Healthy sick doesn't make sense. There are only those in this group that are healthy because their body's own immunity already killed the virus, or those whose symptoms are so minor they didn't even realize that they were sick. Healthy people, children, should not be afraid to interact with other healthy people, children, as has been done in our entire history. Comments also involve facial covering requirements, where Stadler argues should not be done with younger populations. I want to reiterate that COVID-19 has brought to light health-related problems and serious comorbid diseases, and social injustice reflect the preponderance of these cases. But the human immune system has over a 99% success rate killing this virus off using CDC numbers, and even higher for children. The future bar of shutting schools down, moving online, and requiring facial coverings has been lowered enough. We want to make sure that it is justified. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Hello, my name is Michelle Handon, and I am a Palm Beach County school teacher. I am calling in regards to the special meeting of the reopening options for the 2020-21 school year. First, let me say I love my job. I love teaching. I love my students as if they were my own, and their families as if they were my extended family. I explain that I am their school mama. I will love, care for, teach, keep them safe no matter what. If it means running in front of a bullet, I would do so without hesitation. But how am I to keep them safe from COVID when the state of Florida has the highest numbers of children diagnosed, and asking me to risk my life and that of my daughter, who is also a teacher, and granddaughter, who are both high risk for COVID, go back into the actual building? My answer is simple: no. I understand why so many people are saying we need to go back to normalcy. Students need to interact and socialize. Parents need to work. In addition, not all students have access to technology and Wi-Fi, but going back into the building is not going to be anything close to normal. I feel forcing teachers to go back into the school building, we are once again being pushed aside. Our safety and our lives are not valuable. Teachers do the impossible every day. For the first time since I've been teaching, I feel betrayed and broken. I cannot be the only teacher who feels this way. Many may think I'm being selfish by not wanting to return to the school building. I believe I am protecting the next 2020-21 students who have yet to be diagnosed with autoimmune diseases, cancer, or are healthy that may have long-term effects from COVID, or even worse, die. Forcing us to go back into the building is like saying it's okay if we lose a few administrators, a few teachers, a few cafeteria workers, a few custodians, a few bus drivers, a few of the many different support staff, along with extended families, community members, parents, and even worse, a few students, because it's just a few. It's not okay. We will lose so much fewer if we are not in the buildings. Once again, our community, our school boards, local and federal governments are telling teachers that our lives, our families, and our students are not important nor valuable. Now is the time to make a change and save lives so that we as teachers do not feel broken. Thank you so much for listening.
Hello, this is Pernell Williams de Rosier. I am calling in reference to returning to school in the month of August 2020. I'm calling because I am a concerned employee and I am a concerned grandparent with students, grandchildren in the school district. I'm afraid that I may return to work, come in contact with COVID-19, and die due to the underlying health issues that I have. I'm also concerned that one of my grandchildren will be exposed to COVID-19, bring it home, and spread it throughout the family. This is a concern to me of life and death, and I ask the board to consider their decisions that this is based on life and death situations with COVID-19, as many people in our community have died from the pandemic. Thank you for your consideration and listening to my message.
Hello, everyone. My name is William LaRock. My daughter attends Spanish River, and I'm calling to make it very clear that parents and children, students need the opportunity to make a choice to continue online education. The numbers that I'm looking at today say that 1 out of 100 Florida residents are infected with the COVID virus, and the total deaths at this point are 3,841. There's 213,794 cases of COVID in the state of Florida. We see how this virus is just exploding in these counties. And I need to impress upon the board that parents need to have a choice, and so do my children. The governor cut off money for funding, and so my question and what I would like to have answered is, will my child be able to continue her school online, because that's what I want to have happen? And lastly, I'd like to impress this. I buried my wife because of pancreatic cancer. And the last thing I need right now is a dead child. And by forcing these kids back into the classroom at this point where this is completely out of control, that is my biggest fear right now at this point, that I'm going to lose my child child because she's being forced into the classroom because accommodations are not being made. So I respectfully ask everybody on the board to keep this in mind. Parents and students deserve a choice. And I respectfully ask everybody on the board to keep this in mind. We're all under a tremendous amount of stress. I appreciate the work that you're doing, but parents and students must have a choice to continue their continuing education. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Hello, my name is Emma Garrett. I'm a senior at Dreyfus School of the Arts. I'd like to speak with regard to the reopening workshop. The recent trends in COVID-19 cases, specifically in Palm Beach County, indicates that we are not ready to reopen. The risk associated with gathering so many people in classrooms is too great to consider, especially given the possibility of students who will refuse to wear a mask. Simply moving those students to their own room does not mitigate the risks. Furthermore, we don't have the infrastructure to support safe learning in person. As the state provided funds to support teachers in keeping their classrooms clean, even if there were new funds, it's unrealistic to expect teachers or students to clean every surface they touch. My school is a center of community and connection. Much of the beauty of Dreyfus lies in its opportunities to bring students together through their art. As much as I would love to return to my second home, I don't see a solution that would adequately protect our students. We need transportation from the farthest ends of the county. At this point, it makes more sense to redirect efforts to creating a more robust virtual system. I also recommend that more students and teachers join the task force as non-voting members to ensure that their concerns regarding accessibility, safety, and mental health are considered. Those who will be directly impacted by reopening should be directly represented on the task force. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Superintendent and school board members. My name is Justin Katz. I am the president of the Palm Beach County Classroom Teachers Association. I wanted to call today to speak on the reopening task force presentation and in general about school reopenings for this upcoming school year. First and foremost, I wanted to reaffirm the position that CTA stated a week ago that it is our desire, the wishes of the teachers, to start school on time for students on August 10th via distance learning. We are not comfortable at this time, given the spike in COVID cases in Palm Beach County and our position still in a modified phase 1 status to reopen campuses, but we are open to that idea, and our teachers want to return to campus as soon as possible. They just want to be able to do so under safe conditions for everyone, including the students. Regarding distance learning, in whatever form it may take shape for the 2020-2021 school year, I can tell you that certain tentative agreements have been made between CTA and the school district regarding teacher obligations to students and their job during any distance learning scenario. The curriculum by all teachers will be following the scope and sequence when applicable. Attendance will be taken every day, and students who are disengaged will be contacted by teachers in addition to school-based administrators. Office hours will be mandatory every day for teachers. A daily agenda for each and every class period will be posted in the morning or by the beginning of each class by every teacher. Assignments given to students will be given a minimum of 24 hours and some flexibility to allow them to complete this work via distance learning. Live instruction will be mandatory for all teachers every period, every day for a set number of minutes at least to allow students to have live interaction. And these live videos will be recorded so that students who are not able to attend the class in real time are able to access it at a later date based on their availability. Student work and small group work will be stressed as well during every class period where applicable. PD trainings, mandatory trainings that will take place during preschool will be forced on all teachers to make sure that they are up to spec and trained and capable of doing their job. These are just a few of the initial tentative agreements that CTA is happy to make to ensure that not only is safety a top priority, but the quality of education we provide to our students via distance learning is as well. We look forward to continue work with the school district and your staff. We want to make this the best possible scenario that we can out of a bad situation, and we are committed to continue working with you to do that. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration for our requests.
Yes, we're through with those. Apparently, I've been told by the board clerk that the social media is reporting that somehow we moderated some of those messages. We had 92 recorded messages. We played every single one of them. If there was any cutoff, it was because they exceeded their 3 minutes. We didn't cut them off. The system is set up to allow for a 3-minute message. So we did not moderate any of them. We didn't make any changes to any of them. You heard them just the way they came into the district today. There was 92 of them, and you heard every single one of them. Mr. Superintendent, if you want to take over with the workshop.